What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be basically breaking down to you guys my $60,000 Bitcoin position and why I decided to actually trade Bitcoin and how I caught this move. But before we actually get into that, I want to show you guys, of course, the trade, and I want to show you guys the results. I'm also going to be processing a withdrawal here live as well. So as you guys can see, this was the actual trade itself. So I took two positions. The first trade I lost $13,000. The second trade I lost $60,000, as I was discussing on my Instagram. So I ended up making a total of $49,000 on this trade. That's net profit. And also I'm going to show you guys my live withdrawal here as well. As you guys see, it's a live account. So the broker that I'm currently trading on is Athens Markets, which I'm going to literally request a withdrawal right here for just transparency purposes. So you guys saw down there, that was the last withdrawal that I did. So I'm gonna go to withdraw over here. I'm gonna select my trading accounts. You guys can see, like, I have a few trading accounts which I trade, for different purposes. So I'm gonna select my current trading accounts. As you guys can see, my balance on this trading account right now is $624,000. Now before I get into like how much did I risk, etc., we'll get this over withdrawal first. So you guys can see, I'm selecting the same exact trading account with the same balance. I'm going to withdraw. Let's withdraw $24,519. I don't really care about the cents, to be honest with you, which is actually flat. So I'm going to withdraw $24,519, and I'm going to internal transfer that into my wallet. I'm going to confirm. And as you guys can see, my internal transfer was actually executed. So now if I go into my wallet balance over here, I want to refresh the website. You guys can see $24,519 is now in my wallet. What I'm going to do now is actually withdraw this as well. I'm going to withdraw USDT ERC20 because I want to hold some USDT. I'm going to confirm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download really quick Exodus wallet, which I have my Exodus wallet here. So as you guys can see, I have no USDT in it right now. A little bit of Ethereum, but I really just use this wallet for like really quick deposits and stuff. So I'm gonna drag this out of the way. I don't hold any crypto in Exodus. So I'm gonna withdraw again the total balance, which will be $24,000 here. I'm gonna press continue. Now enter additional information. I'm gonna press continue again. This is gonna be my wallet address. So I'm gonna press receive here on Exodus wallet. I'm gonna press confirm and then enter my wallet, confirm. Now as you guys can see, my withdrawal is processing. So if I go back into Trade Locker, you guys will see $600,000 balance flat. I'm gonna go to balance. As you guys can see that this was the trade, and here you guys can see the withdrawal there as well. So I'll end off the video when the withdrawal actually hits my USDT wallet, which I have no idea how long that's actually gonna take. But as you guys can also see here as well, I'm gonna pull up my email address. So I'm gonna show you guys here my email as well, where you guys can actually see. But please inform me that your internal transfer was successfully executed from my trading account number to my wallet. Then I transfer the same exact amount, which you guys can see. Also, my balance is updated on my actual trading account. Here you guys can see the actual withdrawal itself, and here you guys can see the change in the balance as well. All right, guys, so getting straight into the breakdown. So first and foremost, like when it came to me shorting Bitcoin, and a lot of people are probably thinking, oh bro, Bitcoin's rallying, Bitcoin's making new highs. Why would you actually think about shorting Bitcoin? To me, it really just comes down to simple concepts: buy low, sell high. And then also, if you think about it, if you're an accredited investor and you have millions and millions of dollars to put into Bitcoin, most likely you're not going to put all of your money in Bitcoin at an all-time high. It just doesn't make any sense. I know I wouldn't do it. So why would anybody else put all of the money into Bitcoin at an all-time high? It makes absolutely no sense. So a lot of the times what typically you're going to find is when price action does make all-time highs on a specific security, or in this situation, a specific crypto, is there's going to be some form of pullback, which we saw that. Bitcoin made all-time highs at $104,000, and we had a big pullback back down into $91,000. So for me, it was a really simple idea. If we could see Bitcoin maintain under that 100K mark, we could probably see a pullback too. then I asked myself the simple question, okay, well, if we do see a pullback, where could we potentially see that pullback to? And to me, that was going to be this area of support on the 4-hour time frame here, which is going to be $94,000, almost $95,000. Now, a lot of people in this situation would be like, okay, well, we saw, you know, big liquidity and a lot of buying start stepping in here at $91,400. It's like, well, yes, but there's no clean traffic all the way down to $91,000. We have some support along this entire range here at $94,000. So it's more logical to target $94,000 because Bitcoin has a higher probability, if it does melt, to go back down to $94,000 instead of going down into $91,000. And that's like the greed and psychology of people joining more and more in the markets and really always shooting for a move and shooting for a home run trade instead of like really just focusing on a base hit. Like guys, like with this trade that I made 60 grand on, my initial risk was $30,000, which I ended up shaving some off of the trade, which turned the risk to $20,000. So roughly I still secured around like a 4 to a 3R multiple. But at the end of the day, you know, like for me, this is just a simple base hit where this trade made sense. And I decided to put money behind my thoughts and my risk. So now when it came to me actually shorting Bitcoin, we had an initial rally to the downside, like I said previously, after we made all-time highs all the way back down to $1,000. We got support form over here over the last few days before the big rally up here, $94,000. Then we also have some resistance here, which is why I have it marked up here, which looking back at it now, I definitely could have modified this area and made it a little bit better based off of the lower time frames, which we'll kind of get into that. But overall, my thesis was, okay, well, if we could see Bitcoin maintain under $100,000 and $101,000, we'll probably see it come back down at least into $94,000, which you guys can see my entry was on this candlestick, my exit was on this candlestick here. Now, in terms of our multiple, originally at first, like I said, I'm only up like 50 grand. I lost just about like $12,000 with commissions and spreads and swaps. On that specific position, I ended up making like a total net profit of like $49,000. But originally, what my trade kind of looked like at first was something like this. So my stop loss was kind of just above this resistance range here. My take profit was down here, so I was targeting it was just about a 3R multiple on this trade. The entry was a little bit higher here, right? So I was targeting just about a 3R multiple on this position. I was risking initially $30,000 to try and make $90,000, which to me, if I can turn 30 grand into 90 grand, that's a risk I'm personally willing to take. Now for me, it just ended up playing out on a lot larger of a time frame, and I decided to really go with this method because I could have easily been on top of Bitcoin like very, very seriously, but I don't have the time right now to be day trading. It's, you know, the holidays, I have a lot going on in my personal life, and I don't really want to trade with smaller stops because that would just simply require me. So to put this in an example, with Bitcoin, with an asset that's so volatile right now, there's a lot of liquidity flowing through Bitcoin. There's really large wicks, and for me to be day trading Bitcoin, it just really didn't make sense to me when my specialty in day trading is in futures. Now, when it came down to this position, I decided to take a little bit of a larger trade. I ended up taking this trade Sunday night. So when it came down to me actually entering the position, again, you know, the whole concept was we're probably going to be seeing some take profiting. We're probably going to be seeing some bearish pullbacks. If we do see a pullback, we can probably see a pullback down to like, let's call it $95,000, which this was a target here, which you guys could see. This was where I actually exited the position. Now, why I decided to take the trade. So notice we had Bitcoin actually come up, make these all-time highs, come back down, bounce back up, make new highs, or not new highs up to here, but we made a lower high here at let's call it $102,000 before kind of pulling back and consolidating and bouncing above this resistance range. So I knew that based off of the 4-hour time frame, this is where we saw sellers start stepping in. So if we see sellers defend this area, we could definitely see Bitcoin come back down into the support range and then potentially come back down into my target. Anything above $102,000, I'm bullish, and I would have longed up into all-time highs at 104K. But again, I have a thesis that we're probably going to see sellers step in. We're going to see take profiting happen, and then there's of course going to be some form of pullback based off of that. So the reasons as to why I took the position was we did have Bitcoin again come up into this resistance range. I ended up missing the trade here. Unfortunately, it just wasn't on the market at that time. And then we had a big dump and a big sell-off off that area. As you guys can see, sellers defended that area quite nicely, and we were trading all the way down at support. Now, why I said I kind of messed up here was because realistically I should have had my support range drawn out like this. which really it wouldn't have mattered, but I don't think I would have executed the trade if that was the case here, because just our multiple wouldn't really have made too much sense. So, instead of risking 30 grand to only make 60 grand, and I have to hold this for a long time, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I was thinking this was probably gonna be like a few day hold, not like literally a 24-hour hold. I was thinking it's gonna be a 2 or 3 day hold. So for that, if I'm gonna risk 30 grand and make 60 grand, I'd rather do it on futures, and I'd rather make that in potentially like an hour. So I actually had my resistance range kind of up here, which this is where I saw Bitcoin was actually breaking under this area, and that's where I actually decided to execute myself into the shorts. So the minute that price action ended up closing back under this range here, I went down into a lower time frame, like 5-minute time frame, and all I was looking at the action here. So once price action came back above the resistance range and started to trade back under, I executed myself into a short on this candlestick here. Now price action consolidated for quite some time, and then price action it started to actually pull back up and started to break above the structure zone. That's kind of when I started to analyze the trade, and I kind of got into my own thoughts here, and I was kind of like, you don't really trade cryptos too often, you should just stick to futures and indices. And this is where the psychology of the trade actually takes effect. I was like, Raul, and I was speeding myself, and again, I'm being transparent with you guys because I go through the same thought process that you guys do. So Raul, are you really comfortable losing $30,000 on this position? It's like, well, like to make 90K, like, yes, but then this is kind of where like it started to spiral out of control for me. Emotions like, yeah, we could see, because I was already in profit. That's something that you guys, clearly see. I was in profit originally, then I was in some okay profit over here, and the price really started to pull back. And I was like, like, if price does come all the way back up in the resistance range, which I forgot to mention why I set my stop loss up here. So me going into a swing trade, since I'm looking for a swing trade, I'm gonna put my stop loss above the kind of median of the resistance range, which is all the way down here, or technically up here in this situation, where this is where we saw price action bounce around. So if we've seen price action bounce around this range here, we have the highs of the range, we have the lows of the range. I placed my stop loss just slightly above the highs of the range, which in this situation was literally perfect for me, because if price would have broken above the highs of this range, we would have easily seen price come back up into here. And for that, I'd rather stop out and look for another position over here where I can get into Bitcoin or potential short again at a better price, or maybe switch my bias to a long position here. So now when it came down into this situation, so I kind of got in my own head here at first, because when price action started to come back against my position and I started to see some drawdown, I started talking to myself like, hey, Raul, like, do you seriously want to lose 30 grand on this position that's kind of going to be like a swing trade, like you being drawn down for days? Do you really want to see fluctuations in P&L where you're holding this for days, that you haven't traded, you haven't done a swing trade in a really long time, and you want to put yourself through that stress? And to me, I was like, no. So then I kind of reevaluated. So I was like, okay, well, what am I comfortable with actually losing? I'm in drawdown right now. If I close this position, how much of a loss do I want to take, and then how much of a loss do I want to have on the table? So I decided to kind of close out a quarter of my position. So ultimately, like in total, I would lose $20,000 on the trade, which I ended up shaving off just around 10K, and then I ended up getting hit with some commissions and fees. So it ended up being a total of just around like $12,000, especially as price action started to push up. I just kind of made the decision. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna close it. I ended up closing it, and I left the remaining of my position run. That position did very well. And again, like, I don't tell you guys this just to kind of, tell you guys, but I tell you guys this because I want you guys to have the understanding that although, yes, I've been trading for many years, I still am learning more about myself, learning more about the markets, and trading this game where I constantly have to analyze myself and I constantly have to improve to continue to keep up with the current markets and to really maximize my profitability on some of these trades, because I knew for a fact that if I would have seen this pullback and I would have again been risking 30 grand, then in that situation I probably would have closed it just about before I hit my stop loss and then continue to go bearish, so I could probably save myself a couple of dollars there. So I was a lot more comfortable after seeing price action pull all the way back. It's like, okay, like if I lose the rest of this trade, like, that's okay, it's not the end of the world. And we ended up seeing price action done. Now, what the nice thing about it is, and again, I tell you guys this to be transparent with you guys and to also show you guys that I go through the same emotions that you guys do. Now, the nice thing about this is price action ended up dumping right away. So holding the trade from there was kind of a breeze. We saw price action dump all the way back down and make new lows on the day. Price action after it started to consolidate here. At this point, after this dump, I had already moved my stop loss to break even. I did cut some of my position. I'm not mad that I cut some of my position, even though price action went all the way to my targets. Yeah, sure, I left 30 grand on the table, but the thing about it is like the mental stability of me kind of, I don't want to say coming to like an understanding, but me being accepting that I could potentially be holding this position for days. So I'd rather hold this trade with a peace of mind than having to go through like the stress of it, especially during the holidays. I have so much else going on. Now, when it came down to price action hitting these new lows here at $97,000, price action started to consolidate a bit. At this point, I'm already break even on my position, which you guys can go on my Instagram story, and it's all there. At this point, I'm break even on my position. Bitcoin started to pull back, started to consolidate. It made new lows. After Bitcoin made new lows and came back up, and then matched these highs and rejected and started going back down, is when I actually trailed my stop loss to just above this high here. The thing I really like about Trade Locker here is Trade Locker has an automatic stop loss feature. So the way I had it set was for every point that Bitcoin continued to actually go down, my stop loss would go down here as well. So it was nice because at this point I was kind of like hands free. I was doing the rest, I was moving on with the rest of my day. And again, like for me, I trailed my stop loss down into this range here because one, I have to allow price action to fluctuate. I have to allow price action room to breathe for me knowing that price action could potentially get all the way back down here where we can see some new buying step back in. And then, as long as price action continue to push, I'll have Trade Locker automatically trail my stop loss for me. And it got to a point where price action just kept dropping. My stop loss kept trailing. At this point, when price was down here, my trailing stop loss was already here. So it was funny because I was actually at the bank and I get a notification from Trade Locker, order filled. I'm thinking, okay, I just got stopped out. I made $25,000. So at least, I made my loss back and I made a little bit of, I made a couple dollars on top. I was thinking I may be up a net $13,000 in a day. I opened the charts and it's just a huge dump down to this area. My stop loss my take profit got filled. Ended up making the 60 grand that I anticipated to actually make with ease because I wasn't even managing my own stop loss. Trade Locker was doing that for me. But it just goes to show you how important it is to stick to your targets, because I know there's a lot of newer traders that probably would have seen the close under and try holding through and then not close as price action starts to get back above, saying like, we were just here, we could probably get back there, and I'll close at the low, and then price action completely reverses and goes in the opposite direction. For me, if I set out a target to, hey, this is where I'm getting out if I'm right, and that's typically what I'm going to stick to. In the situation where I didn't have a hard take profit and I would have seen price action close under, my game plan would have been very simple. If price action continues to dump, great, I'll continue to hold my position down to 91,500. If not, if we start to see price action start to get back above my take profit, I'm closing it right away. So I'm not really interested in holding anything else for too long. Anything else would just simply be extra. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. I hope you guys benefited off this video. And let me know, drop a comment if you guys want to see more videos like this, if this video was valuable to you. And again, I tried being transparent as possible in this video, not only showing you guys the withdrawal, but my thought process, the loss inside of this swing trade, so on and so forth. Not every single trade is going to be perfect, but this was a pretty solid trade. Took about 24 hours, or a little bit less than 24 hours to play out. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. All right, guys, so it is actually the next day. I just wrapped up my trading day today, and I want to show you guys my withdrawal actually got approved, and it already received the crypto. So as you guys can see over here, I'm going to show you guys my phone, my email here. So as you guys can see, withdraw Athens market request has been executed. That was 15 minutes ago for $24,519. And then over here as well, you guys can see here's the actual withdrawal, states withdrawal, so it's not a loss. So you can see the result, you can see the change in my balance. And then of course you guys can see here, I have the Exodus wallet here as well, and you guys can see that the crypto actually was received roughly around 10 minutes ago. So about 10 minutes after the withdrawals approved, I received the crypto. To show you guys that again, show you guys just transparency. and to show you guys that this is 110% possible if you put your mind to it. So if you guys like this video and you guys want to see more videos like this of a breakdown, let me know, drop a comment. And other than that, I'll talk to you guys in the next videos.